Hey guys, so in this quick tutorial we're just going to talk about how to essentially use the system sounds. So we're going to be using a simple sound that is the success sound. So when I click on this button right here, it starts playing a sound every 1 second. Okay, so that's because I have it scheduled to repeat every 1 second. Okay, and we can kind of see it's showing us on the screen what is happening. And it was looping, like I said, because I put a loop in there. So let's go ahead and create this. It's a pretty simple setup, and the whole point really is to show you how to create sound. Okay, so I'm going to save. I'm going to start a new project. All right, I'm going to watch app. This will be code tutorials underscore watchOS underscore play sound. Okay, and then I'm going to save that on my desktop. And I'm going to save actually in this file. Sorry, a little bit overhead on my side. Underscore watch OS underscore play sound. Okay, and it's pretty really easy setup, honestly. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a V stack, and inside of that we'll put an H stack, and that's really it. And there will be a conditional, so that's about it. First things first, let's go ahead and create that. I don't need this at all, actually, so we can have more room for code. There we go. Put a V stack. Okay. Inside that, I'll put an H stack at the bottom. And then I'll put a text. I'm going to put an image. I'm going to use the SF symbol for the image of speaker. This is going to either say, we're going to use a Turner operator. We're going to have something up here called the state variable timer. It's going to be of type optional timer. And we're going to say dot foreground color, and we'll say if timer is equal to nil, then the color will be red, otherwise it'll be green. And then I'm going to put that inside this text, where I'm going to come here and say it's going to say either sound off, or it'll say sound on. And then above that I'll put a button, and the button is just going to have an action and its contents. I'm just going to say toggle sound. Or even better, what I can do is the same principle. I can grab that ternary operator there, and I'll make this say play sound if it's off, and we'll say stop sound. And here we'll do star for the sake of consistency. And now, what happens inside of there? Oh, this should not say dot foreground color. There, that's what that should say. So we'll just know for now. Let's see what happens. Let's see why it doesn't like that. Timer. Let me get rid of this just for 1 second. Just make sure we didn't miss something somewhere else. We'll run it. I'm just running the H stack, the text, the image, and the foreground color. So that was fine. So now I'll just make sure I didn't miss anything here. So that's what this looks like so far. Okay. Now I'll bring that back. And we should have a text that's checking if the timer is equal to nil again. That should work just fine. I don't know why that ternary operator is failing. We'll just make this say toggle sound for the sake of simplicity. Oh, it's because it says actions, it's plural, that's why. So I'm just going to grab that again. Sorry about that. That should just say action. Okay, and this is going to say play sound, stop sound. Probably don't even need that. Let's just run that. Perfect. So right now the button's not doing anything, but it will in a second. So we're just going to use a timer, and we're going to say, I'm going to grab that piece of code because I really hate rewriting the timers. So I'm going to, this is from my finished product. I'm going to just copy it over and we'll talk about it. Okay, so here's the project we're working on together. I'm going to paste that right in here, and it's from here to here. That's where we're working, in between these lines. So we're saying if the timer is currently equal to nil, which it can be because it's an optional, then we're going to set timer equal to a timer with a scheduled interval, with time interval of 1, and it's continually repeating. And then inside the closure, we don't need to actually access the timer, so we're going to put the underscore in, and then we're going to use this line right here, WK interface device. So if you write WK interface device, okay, you can see its battery state, wrist location, crown orient. You can see all sorts of pieces of information. There's also a lot of things that you can do inside of there. You can check for water lock. We go here and say, so like I said, battery level, battery state. You can check a bunch of different pieces. Is water lock enabled? You can check the layout direction. You can actually use a lot of different pieces. I didn't even realize the scope of this, but the point is that you can check all those different components, but we're just using current, and we're going to use the function of playing. And what are we going to play? We're going to play the success noise. So if I click dot, I can see all the different types. I'm just going to play success, and I'm going to re-indent everything so everything looks nice. So we're saying if it's equal to nothing, then start a timer. Okay, we're saying self.timer will be equal to timer.scheduled timer. But if it doesn't fulfill this conditional, that means that the timer is already set to something. And what is it set to? It means it most likely is only going to be set to this. So what we're going to do is we're going to invalidate it and set it back to nil. To set it back to nil, so instead of having everything being dealt with whether or not the timer is equal to a timer versus equal to nil, you could always just make it a timer forever and then just change it from being invalidated to valid. And personally, I just like using the nil. I just think it's easier to deal with. You don't have to deal with a bunch of the intricacies of and in this case, there's nothing too intricate about invalidate, but in other cases, everything comes with every item or item type comes with its own little nuances. And so I just like dealing with optionals and nil. So just as you can invalidate something, you can check if it is valid by just writing is valid. And that's a return value. So it's just going to tell you whether or not it's valid. So I'm going to use invalidate. And that's it. So if something is currently being played, then what it's going to do is it's going to invalidate it and set it back to nil. That's the entire function. Okay. So I'm going to get rid of the extra space in here, and we'll run it, and we can see that we have the finished product. Okay. Save it. That's the entire code, literally from here to here. Save it, run it. All right, so we have a successful noise. We'll stop it. Good to go. All right, so that's it. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And I'm just trying to cover the basics here so we can, if you have something that's kind of a unique UI or even something that you think would probably take 2 or 3 tutorials to get through, I don't mind making a little series to get through some more ideas on here. But I'm open to suggestions, so just put a message below. All right, I'll see you in the next one.